Did you know that 90% of the world's millionaires invest in real estate? Well, I'm Angel with the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks, and I'm here to help you if you want to go for your piece of that pie. Hi guys, it's Angel from the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks, and I've got Misty Flanagan with us today. And she is going to be stepping us through the process of running an awesome marketing campaign, because who doesn't need some help with that, right?
Right.
And if you're amazing at it, let me know because I'm going to bring you on.
Yes, let's learn more. I love learning from
Absolutely.
other people. So that's awesome.
All right. So Misty is out of Houston,
Yes.
and I know that they've got a development arm of their firm, and
Yes.
they do some other stuff, but I've been watching the amazing things you're doing on the development side, and that's pretty awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. But we're based in Houston, and I do development. I do wholesaling. I mean, we're doing all kinds of things here. So it's pretty exciting. Been really a lot of fun. So I'm super excited to be invited back, by the way. Thank you so much. I had a blast last time. So this is really cool. I'm so pumped.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen. All right. Looks like we're good to go. Hopefully everybody can see. So Angel, you'll throw the questions at me, right? Because I can't really see the chat when I share my screen. So
yes, let me make sure I can see it. So I'm going to pull up the chat again. And if you've got questions, you can put them in chat or you can put them in the Q&A. I can see both of those.
Perfect. So, awesome. Thank you for helping me with that. So.
Awesome.
Okay, guys. So as Angel said, my name is Misty Flanagan. I've been a full-time real estate investor for almost 4 years now. Yes, we're based out of Houston. Most of the investing we do is here in Houston. I am co-founder in Elevated Development. That was the development company that she was referring to. We're building a bunch of townhomes here in Houston. We're super excited about. Guideway Investment Partners is the company that I do all my wholesaling through, and we're actually going to try to start building a rental portfolio this year. So I'm super pumped about that. The Women's Real Estate Investor Alliance is an organization that I started with another female investor. We're at about 2.5 years old. We have an amazing group, and yeah, it's just a great group of women that lift each other up, and we try to learn from each other. And then Level Up Remodeling is another company that I co-founded that is a turnkey investor-focused rehab company. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit about that in the presentation as an example to explain a little bit about the differences between active and passive investing. So anyways, that's just a little bit about me. Let's get to the good stuff. So marketing campaigns. Okay, they seem to be like they would be the most simplest thing in the world. Just pick a campaign and go, right? Well, if you are anything like me, you've probably done multiple marketing campaigns and not all of them have been successful. And some of them have just fallen flat on their face. And you're probably going, why? Somebody told me it was just that easy to go cold call or door knock or send direct mail. You know, when you look back at your marketing campaigns and everything like that, I call it the overwhelm of choosing a marketing campaign because there are so many out there. And these are just a few that I know offhand, you know, bandit signs, cold calling, SEO, MLS, Facebook ads, driving for dollars, door knocking, and networking. I'm sure there's probably a million more that I don't even know about, but these are the most common. And the key thing is trying to establish which marketing campaigns actually help you facilitate your business and reach your goals. So that's what we're going to go into. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up that this is going to be a little bit of a different presentation, and we're going to obviously focus on marketing campaigns, but I really want to talk about the mindset side of it, behind it basically, because that is what will make a marketing campaign successful. It's so important, and I don't think that we talk enough about it. So I hope that's okay, that's going to be part of it, right? Wouldn't you agree, Angel?
Oh,
that
sure.
It's so easy to send yellow letters, but then when you don't get a response, you don't get a call, or the calls you're getting are leave me alone. I'm not, like, there's just so much mindset in it that nobody really addresses. And I feel like that's when marketing campaigns fail, is when you give up, right? And when I can't do this and all of that. So that's
it goes back to that idea of people don't ever really stress that the importance of starting with the mindset.
Absolutely. And that's what that is the big topic of today. So yes, that is the big topic of today. So yes, marketing campaigns, but the big topic of today is the mindset behind, actually structuring your mindset correctly to then launch your marketing campaign successfully. So it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to share with you guys. Okay, so step one is to determine what kind of investor you want to be. So most are either a residential investor or a commercial investor, and a lot of people actually do both. That's the first thing, and we're going to touch on what this means. So if you're not really familiar with either or with both, we're going to touch on that. And then the next thing you need to determine is if you're an active investor or a passive investor. So an active investor is more boots on the ground. You're the one door knocking. You're the one making cold calls. You're the one flipping. Passive might be more you've invested funds into a project and you just kind of sit back and you're waiting for the returns, right? You're not really actively involved. And so there's great ways to determine which type of investor you want to be. Obviously, if you have a lot of time, an active role would be great. If you have more money and maybe not a lot of time, passive is definitely more of a route to go. Maybe real estate is not like a passion of yours, right? You just want this little side business to build this awesome, retirement fund or whatever it is for you, or create a fund for travel or just something like that. But you don't actually want to be like in it, swinging hammers and making cold calls and all of that. So there's a very big difference between active and passive. And then also some of the worlds can collide. And we're going to talk a little bit about that when we go into the differences between residential and commercial. So these are some examples of residential investing. So when you're thinking about what you want to do, wholesaling is one. I do a lot of wholesaling. It's when you get a property under contract and then you actually find a buyer that you assign the contract for, and you make what's called an assignment fee. So it's kind of I don't know if you want to call it quick and dirty way, because it requires a lot of work and effort actually to be a wholesaler, but it doesn't require a lot of capital, and you don't have to wait for the flip to be over and for it to sell. Right? You're just assigning the contract and you get paid a fee for that. So that's definitely very active. Building a rental portfolio, that's also can be very active. You can find properties from other people. You can also launch your own. You can be an active investor where you property manage your own properties, or you can be more passive where you hire a property management company to do that. Single family residential builder, that is some of what elevated development does. You could build custom homes, you could build subdivisions, you could just, townhomes, which is what we're building, all of that stuff. So there's different avenues there. And again, you can actively be the one building, or you could passively invest in those projects. We have tons of passive investors that really don't have anything to do in real estate other than they have invested funds into our projects. Airbnb, as an example, short-term rentals, right? There's a bunch of different ones out there now. I would say that's more active as well, unless you're hiring a company to manage your Airbnbs for you. It's a great opportunity. We did some Airbnb rental investing when we lived in Austin. We actually rented out part of our condo. It helped us pay rent. It was awesome. And it was a lot of fun too. And then obviously flipping, right? Flipping or rehabbing properties. Now I had to put like a big giant X through the HGTV, because if you're getting into this thinking that you're going to be an HGTV show and it's going to be all great and fun, and I mean, it is fun, but super easy and like the show, then I'm sorry, but I got to give you a really big reality check right now. It is nothing like the shows. Yeah. It is a lot of fun, but yeah, it's nothing like the shows. So don't base it off that, and definitely know what you're doing or partner with somebody that knows what they're doing, because I've seen a lot of rehabs go terribly wrong because you don't know how to manage subs, you over rehab, so you lose money, those sorts of things. Again, with the flip and rehab, you can be more active, where you're going to be the one, you could be the one swinging the hammer. You could be the one managing the subs. You can be the, all of that, or you could be more passive, which is what the investors use Level Up Remodeling for. When I say turnkey, I mean that we take it cradle to grave. So we're the ones getting the permits. We're the ones hiring and managing the subs. We're the ones managing the rehab. We're, doing all of that. So again, those worlds can collide, where you could be a little more active, or you could be a little bit more passive, or you could do a little bit of both in there. So is there any questions that popped up about residential?
Marcella just said she's in Austin, and if you ever need anything, she would love to help you.
Hey, awesome. Thank you. I would love that.
Yeah, and just what I know of Marcella, they've got 32 units. Yeah, and I'm thinking they're in Austin. They had some in other areas, but they've been kind of divesting those and focusing more in the Austin area. I think. Marcella, if I have that wrong, please let me know.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Marcella. I appreciate that. Yeah, we did some flips in Austin when we lived there, and obviously we had the Airbnb, and now our primary focus is on Houston, but I would love to get back into that market at some point. You need reliable boots on the ground. If I know anything, I know that. So that's
She
awesome.
said I had it right. So
Oh, good. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So okay to move on to commercial investing then, I think. Yeah, cool.
I think so.
Okay, awesome. All right, commercial investing. So this is more on the side of multifamily, maybe some retail, office space, that sort of thing. People do what's called syndicated deals, where you could be a sponsor of a deal and you're actually going and finding the deal. So that's where you're active. If you're the one getting out there, I'm going to find a multifamily and then I'm going to bring it to this group where they're going to invest money into it. And those people that are investing money into it are more passive. Okay. So a lot of commercial investing, I would say, is more on the passive side, just my opinion. And so some examples of that is obviously multifamily, office space, retail space. Self-storage is a wonderful commercial investing opportunity because there's very little that you have to do to a storage facility. There's not a lot of maintenance. So it's great, so those are awesome. Obviously becoming a developer, that's a goal of elevated development, is actually to be building these sorts of things more on the commercial side. So you can go that route. And then also I put builder in there as well, because our projects are single family, but they also are somewhat considered commercial because we are building in bulk, I would say, or we're building communities, right? So we're building 6 townhomes at a time, 12 townhomes at a time. That kind of gets pushed more in the commercial realm, even though we are selling them as single family, residential homes. So again, the worlds can collide. You don't have to decide one way or the other. You can do a little bit of both when it comes to residential, commercial, and then active and passive. And there's a little example on the side of a little bit more about what the active side of commercial investing is versus the passive side. Is there any questions on commercial investing?
Number one, I just like to say that the number of people is growing.
Hey, yay! Welcome, people.
But I really like this graphic that you've created here. I think there's a lot of people that they think they're passive and they're not. Like, I thought we were passive in all of our single families because we have a management agency.
Right.
But then we got into like larger multifamily syndication deals. Those are truly passive. You just get your distributions.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
When I realized that, no, I'm still fielding calls from the management agency of, oh, you need a new roof. Oh, your AC just went out. Oh, you've got a leak. You've got a leak. I think we've got an issue with the foundation. I was like, this isn't as passive as I thought it was.
Right, exactly. When you decide if you want to be more active or passive, you really have to look at the amount of time that, one, you have, and two, that you want to put into this, right? I mean, we have a lot of people that are retired and they invest in our elevated development projects. It's not that they don't have the time to be more active. They just don't really want to, and I don't blame them. And they have a reliable development company that is managing all of the projects. So they're just going to sit back and wait for the returns. So, it's good to acknowledge that, because if you don't have a lot of time and you're trying to be active, it can be extremely, extremely frustrating. So you need to be realistic with yourself on the amount of time that you have when you're deciding. And then a lot of people that I know get into the business being more on the residential side, and then the ultimate goal is to do commercial, right? And I would say one thing is I hear so many people say that, oh, well, I need to do residential first in order to understand commercial, in order to invest. Not necessarily. They're two very different investing strategies. So if you educate yourself on commercial and if you really have no desire to do a flip or have rental properties, why not just dive into the commercial side? As long as you're educating yourself and you're understanding what you are investing in, there really is no need to do residential, first. I think that's a misconception in the industry, but I obviously educate yourself on what you're getting yourself into. But I don't know, Angel, would you agree that you always hear people say that? I constantly hear people say that.
I think that it is much less frequent to meet people that go commercial first. I do know of people that, especially like in multifamily, that never did single family homes. They never did small multifamily from day one. they were big multifamily from day one. And for us, like we started in single family, now we got some small multifamily, and now we're moving
Yeah.
into the
Sure. I
multifamily, the
think
larger
it's
multifamily.
about your comfort level, right? I just don't like when people are like, oh, well, I never had a goal to even do single family. I've always wanted to do commercial, but I'm going to now put time, energy, and money into single family. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. You're almost hindering your path, right?
No,
So,
it's that misnomer of you like, especially like you have to start in single family first.
yeah,
Like we
I
will
just don't believe
probably,
that's true. And that's just my opinion, obviously.
yeah, unless one absolutely falls in our lap, we'll probably never buy another single family home.
Right. Exactly.
Because you don't have to start there.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to finish there. You don't have to
Right.
be there at all if
Right.
that's not what you
Right.
want.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
So
Yeah.
Sharon Reed just wanted to say that she's
Oh,
both. She is active and passive.
yes, she is. Sharon's awesome too, by the way. So she's also
So,
that. Cool.
so
Awesome.
now I kind of feel like we're there too, just because even though we have a management agency, I still have to field those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're active and passive. We're mostly active, right? Because we're running these businesses and we're the boots on the ground. We also have passive investing that we do. Like we have private money that we lend out. It's IRA money. So we have to be passive. We can't go and swing hammers and be part of that. We're also invested in other businesses passively where we don't do any of the day to day, right? So you can absolutely do both. I would encourage you to do both if that's something, just to get more of a, return or whatever on your money. Obviously, make sure you trust the people that you're passively investing with, that they know what they're doing. But you should do that when you're actively investing with people anyways, too. So you do your due diligence. All right. So now that you've determined what kind of investor you want to be, and please don't get too hung up on that. Like, I have to do this and I have to do, no, that's the great thing about real estate investing is you can kind of just like, you want to have pretty set goals and things like that, guidelines to follow, but you can evolve along the way. I have evolved immensely along my journey and it's changed constantly, and that's totally okay. So don't worry too much about it. Just really give some thought about the here and now and what makes sense for you. So step 2, goal setting, okay? Understand your circumstances. So you're gonna see the you and the your in caps and underlined a lot lately, or a lot through my presentation, because it's so important that you're really looking at your circumstances, not the circumstances of other people, right? Everybody has different situations and circumstances. That's why I say it's so important to understand your time, right? That you have. We're going to talk about budgeting for your marketing campaign, and then, your goals, right? For what you want. Doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, okay? So understand your current circumstances, and that's going to help you in the goal setting. I like to set my personal goals first, and then I set my business goals alongside that. Because a lot of times the personal goals will get pushed to the wayside if the business goals are set first. And your personal goals are extremely important. And that's what's going to keep you going on the tough days, right? So I definitely would say set those first. That's just how I do it, but I would encourage that as well.
I really like that piece because I think that, especially as women, we are taught to care for others first. And so we push our own desires, our own self-care to the side because for some reason it has been ingrained in us that self-care is selfish.
Yes.
And that's just not the case.
No, not at all.
Guys can get away with putting themselves first all the time.
Yeah.
And they might get a little, but they're not nobody's going to come on them the same way that we feel like people are going to come on us. And some of that isn't even true. Some of it is an imagined attack, but it's just so ingrained.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And if you're say you set your business goals first and push your personal goals to the wayside, and you're doing all these things to build your business, but you're missing out on things that are personally important to you, you're going to end up resenting your business. You're going to go, well, why am I doing this? This isn't making me happy. I don't even get to achieve my personal goals. And you definitely don't want that. If anything, you need the exact opposite when you're building a business. This is not easy. And we're going to talk about that too. And so you really need to be like fully focused, and you need to feel fulfilled personally and professionally in what you're building. So I think it's so important to really look at the personal goals, when you're deciding your business goals, and then break down your goals, right? You want to create your long-term goals, obviously, and then you create short-term goals that help get you to your long-term goals. And those short-term goals, I would encourage them to be monthly, weekly, daily. I have goals every day that I'm like, okay, today I have to achieve XYZ. Like this has to get done today. And those in turn are helping me achieve my weekly goals, my monthly goals, my yearly goals, So as long as you're in line there, then you're going to be on a very good path. Now, if you're setting like I said, like a long-term goal of, oh, I want to commercially invest, and I really don't want anything to do in the result. And then your short-term goal is, oh, I want to flip a property. Those are not really, aligned. And so you want to be careful there. So just make sure your short-term goals are getting you to your long-term goals. And then you make productive, smart daily choices that also help along that path. Okay. Because again, if you're not okay up here, you're not going to be able to execute properly. All right. Any questions about goal setting?
Right now, there's a group of people that are going through the 12-week year.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that book?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it, but I've heard of it. Mm-hmm.
So basically what it does is it takes, instead of operating in a 12-month year, you make each month a week so that you can't like have throwaway weeks.
I like it.
It's more every day is important.
Yeah.
And it talks about like the vision and the goal setting, and it makes every day important, which is kind of what I'm hearing you say too, is that every day you have to make sure that you're making conscientious choices that propel you toward your overall goals.
Absolutely.
So that might be, the 12-week year might be another resource for people if they're looking for something to help them understand that we can't have throwaway days.
Yeah.
You can have a bad day. A bad day is not the same thing as a throwaway day.
No, it's not at all. It's not at all. And I think too, having some self-care days, right? Where, you take a day to kind of decompress or whatever, because you're feeling super overwhelmed, is also important. It's just important those days don't become, 4 or 5 days out of the week that you're saying, oh, I need another day to do, it's like, okay, you had your day or whatever. And a lot of times I'll even take half days. So like on the weekends, maybe I'll work a little bit in the morning, and maybe it's only an hour or two. Maybe what I need to get done that day only takes an hour or two. And the rest of the day, I'm enjoying it with Jason on a bike ride, or we're going on a walk, or whatever else. So I like to feel productive every day, and that can be different for every person, but I really like that. I need to read that book because that's cool. I want to start doing that. So yeah, when you start to make productive, smart daily choices, you'll also find yourself at the end of every day going, oh, wow, today was a really good day. I feel like I got a lot done. Maybe you didn't get everything on your to-do list done, but that usually happens sometimes, right? But if you feel like you had some productivity in your day and it's getting you to your goals, you're going to go to bed, like you're going to sleep much better at night. And I mean, I do anyways.
No, I 100% agree. Like, even if you only get, 3 out of 5 of the things done, you got stuff done.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's plenty of people out there that write their lists and get nothing done.
Yeah. And you'll even have days where, like yesterday, I had I don't even know if I got one thing on my actual to-do list, but I had some really exciting opportunities that was like, I had to jump on right away. And so I went to bed last night and I was so pumped, and it didn't even matter that the to-dos that I had done, unless it's something like you have a closing that day or something, and but it's, sometimes you have to be open and flexible to things changing, but that doesn't mean that wasn't a productive day. If I would have said, oh no, I can't do this opportunity, I might be missing out on a really, a big opportunity, what I'm pursuing now is my first portfolio deal. And that's huge. And I could have just been, no, I have all these other things on my plate. I can't deal with this right now. But you have to be open to kind of adjusting and adapting. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about that too.